Hello, everyone. I am so excited to welcome you today to Amanda Moxley, who's going to talk to us about how to turn your words to wealth, cash in on the crowd, and generate wealth in a weekend. Amanda is an international business coach with 18 years of experience. She's best known for helping her clients create wealth in a weekend. While most business coaches help clients with six-figure years, Amanda coaches her clients to have six-figure paydays. Amanda is the creator of the Speak and Grow Rich Challenge, which walks you through how to assemble your audience, turn your words to wealth, and generate a year's worth of income in a weekend through the power of profitable live and virtual events, retreats, and workshops. Well, welcome, Amanda.
Thank you, Jill. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. And I'm thrilled that you're here. And I love this topic. So I'm so excited to get into this. But before we get into how to create that six-figure payday, which is super exciting through the speaking and events, let's talk a little bit about your six-figure journey to building the business that you have now. What are some of the highlights around how you actually got yourself from just starting out to getting beyond that six-figure mark?
Oh my. Well, it's been a long time, 18 years. So, I'm like a full-blown adult at this point, but in my entrepreneurial journey, but it took me, I didn't get my first six figures. I started in 2005. Here's the thing. I didn't have a real intimate relationship with money in those early days. So I don't even remember how much I made because I was doing it for my passion and my joy. And I think I made about 75,000 a year, but I don't remember until finally I was like, oh, I got pregnant. I had my first baby with my husband. And then I was like, Mama's got to make some money. I got to figure this out. So I ended up hiring where I met you so many years ago. I hired a mentor that really helped me own my desires and really become clear on what I desired. And then from there, I continue to invest in mentorship to learn the skill set, the mindset, and the strategies to actually create the six figures in a year. And some highlights were draining my savings, and I was down to my last $200. And this is over 10 or 12 years ago. And I went to LA to go to an event. And I remember feeling like I was so defeated and I was shaming myself because I had all these hopes and all these dreams that I knew I could do it. And I saw other people doing it. And yet I felt like such a failure. And I remember sitting there with a mentor and telling her how bad I felt and how much shame I had. Anyone relate to me? Like, have you ever been there where you see other people and you're like, that was what I was supposed to have. And that was what was sold to me. And yet I'm in this pit and in this pain. And the mentor said to me, Amanda, you are in your seminar story. The light bulbs went out in my mind and I said, this isn't the end for me. I'm actually just in the messy middle. And from that moment, I decided to invest with her. You might ask me how I had the resources to do that. I didn't. I just said yes. And the money appeared, which is a whole nother story. And through that, making that decision and showing up and getting uncomfortable and going out and getting the book to speak all around my town and city, I made $54,000 in 6 weeks. And then I went on to six figures within a few more months after that. So just wherever you are right now, you can turn your past into gold. You can cash in on your past, and there is profit in your pain and really help a lot of people. So don't judge or shame yourself if you're in your messy middle.
Really, what you're talking about here is you made a powerful decision. Is that correct? Like you finally are like, Mama's got to make money. This is happening. How did you, what got you to flip and just make that decision like that and just relentlessly move forward and then be able to make the money?
So a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people on their route to their first six figures or first six-figure months or six-figure days, they have one hand forward. Everybody go like this, put one hand forward and one hand on the back door. So when you're like this, you're divided and you cannot move forward. So what happened for me is I put both hands on the driver's wheel. Go like this, Jill, both hands on the driver's wheel. And I just was like, I'm not letting go. And I'm going and I'm going and I'm going. So I completely had the desire, made the decision. I drew the line in the sand that I was done, capital D, done with this drama, with this feast or famine, with this wavering, wishy-washy, wondering, seeking. And I made a commitment that I was going for it. because focus is an entrepreneur's number one asset. If you are not focused, if you are on every free webinar, if you are on every free talk, if you are on every free everything, your focus is divided. So the first thing I really had to do was focus and commit as I made the decision to powerfully move forward, and then focus on sales and marketing, speaking, serving consistently. And then another great thing is being able to track that so that you have your goals for your output every day and you're tracking consistently that you're doing it.
Yeah, tracking is so important. I think a lot of people underestimate that. Why do you think that's so effective?
Well, numbers don't lie, and numbers are not emotional, and numbers are feedback. And accountability means just to count. So it's very empowering to look at your numbers and get in reality with where you are. I say to my clients, get real and get rich.
I love it. I love it. You have so many good sayings. Like I love how you use words when you talk about, just when you're doing your coaching and, hearing you on videos. I know you make a lot of videos. You've got your podcast. I just love some of the ways you put words together. And one of the groups of words that I love that we were talking about earlier is turn your words to wealth. So how can we do that? Because that sounds so like, I think who wouldn't want that? So how can we do that?
Well, everybody has a mouth. You can't do it if you don't have a mouth. So understand that there are multiple layers of value. And the first layer, and I learned this from one of my mentors, the first level of value is you're using your muscles. Okay. If you're using your muscles, you're going to be making $0 to $80,000 a year. You're going to be a driver. You're going to be just, a mechanic. You're going to be working using your muscles. The next level is you're going to be managing people. So you could be in corporate, or you could be working at the grocery store and managing people there, where you're managing people. The next level is your mouth, using your mouth to communicate your message, to cash in on the crowd, to assemble your audience. So your mouth. Now, who are the highest paid people in our culture? Speakers. Taylor Swift is doing pretty well right now. It's like $300, $350 to go and hear her sing. Beyonce, not really a fan, but there's a lot of speakers, artists, musicians who are in the airways who are communicating. And also think of Oprah, think of Ellen DeGeneres, think about the people on TV. I don't even watch TV, but they are there using their mouth to make millions. So if you're able to communicate, you're able to cash in on the currency and create the income that you desire. And the next level after that is your imagination or your mind. So when you think about the phones we have, this all came from imagination. So everything we have was first formed in the imagination. So if you're going to be able to make more money, millions of dollars, when you start to learn to communicate.
One of the things that I think is very challenging for people, it's like, how to communicate what we do, how to communicate our value. Like, do you have any recommendations around, like, how do you do that?
100%. First of all, we want to be able to communicate the problem that you solve. Businesses are in business because we solve problems. So what I would do, everybody, is get out a piece of paper and make a T. I'm a huge fan of the T chart. So on the left side, you're going to write down, what is the pain? What is the painful pit that your ideal clients are in? So it could be, if you're a health coach, it's overweight, stuffed, don't know what to eat, lethargic, tired. So think about the problem that you're solving and begin to put words, the problem that your ideal client is having, and communicate those words in such a way that think back. This is very easy, is look back at your past. Look back at, like I look back at I call that my seminar story. So you're going to look back into your past. Maybe you go back, I've got journals back there, and I'm going to go look and what was I writing about at 3 a.m. when I was up in the night? What was I crying to my best friend about? What was I telling my husband? What was I searching on Google when I was in my pain point? So how do you do this? A lot of people skim over this because they want to be really intelligent and show their vocabulary. In marketing, you really want to have a third grade vocabulary. It's very easy for me. So just talk really basic and that will help you. So what is the pain? What is the problem? That is going to help you, and focus on the problem that you solve And then the other side of your T chart, is this helping you guys? Is this helping you? Okay. On the other side of this, you want to think about what is the payoff? What is the promised land? So what is it that they want? Now, a lot of people, they only talk about the payoff. But the thing is, nobody trusts you or knows you yet. So don't just tell me all about how great it is. Tell me about the pain so I actually can understand and feel that you know the problem that I am in. So I'll give you guys a really good example. So to articulate this, I'm a business coach, as you know, and I was coaching a woman who was a holistic health coach. And she had her business and it was called Harmonious Ways to Health. And that was so beautiful. Who doesn't love that? But she hired me because she really wanted to go to her next level in her income and business. So I looked at her past and I said, okay, I asked her all these details. I'm like, tell me, why did you get into this? What brought you to this idea to want to help people have harmonious ways to health? And she said, well, I had acne. And I said, oh no, that must have been awful. Were you a teenager? And she said, no, I didn't have it as a teenager. I had it as an adult. So what is it called? Onset acne, adult onset acne. And I said, okay, well, how did you feel when you had this acne and you were taking your kids to school and you were going to work? And how did you feel? And she said, I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I felt, I wanted to hide. I didn't really want to go on these dates with my husband and these amazing, corporate things we had to go to. I felt embarrassed. Okay, so what did you do? And she said, well, I healed myself. I tried this and I tried this in the medical field. But what actually worked for me was holistic health. I learned how to eat healthy. I learned how to breathe. I learned how to sweat. I learned how to, feed my body nutritious foods. Cheers, guys. And that's what she did. And then all of a sudden her face was radiant. And I said, okay, well, why don't we talk about the painful problem that you solved versus the promised land? Because her promised land is holistic health way or whatever it was, harmonious ways to health. And I said, if it was 3 a.m., has anyone been up at 3 a.m.? If you're a woman, you're middle-aged, you have been, okay? You've been up at 3 a.m. If you're an entrepreneur, you have definitely been up at 3 a.m., okay? Tossing and turning. What are you Googling, okay? You are not Googling harmonious ways to health. If you have onset acne and you are completely ashamed because you cannot go to that corporate event with your husband because you're going to feel like you're a teenager, but you're really 45, you're going to Google acne breakthrough. How do I clear this acne? So anyway, I helped her reframe it. And I said, how about we call you the acne breakthrough coach? And that was it for adults. Okay. So guys, which one would you Google in the middle of the night? Harmonious ways to health or acne breakthrough coach? You're Googling and you're discussing and you're searching and you're here for the summit because you have a problem that you want solved. So do your audience and your income and your family a favor of actually doing the research and looking deeper and deeper about the problem you solve and learning to communicate that in a way that actually people hear. They hear and they identify with and they want more of.
Yeah, that was beautifully said. What a great example. I love that. I mean, that makes it so clear for people to see. And we get stuck. Well, we get stuck on our process for one thing. Mm-hmm. We want to talk about our process and, nobody really cares about your process. They want the problem solved like you shared. And, mm-hmm. And I think, we do like the promised land, but the thing is when you're stuck in the muck of the problem, it's sometimes hard to even think, can I even go there? So I love how you're like, no, focus on what she's going to be Googling at 3 a.m. That's really
right. 100%. Because people pay to get out of pain. Yeah. When their back is up against the wall, that's when I know that's when I change. That's when things get my attention. When I'm comfortable, then I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm really okay. I don't really need to change. Anyone met anyone like that who's just completely comfortable? They don't care. They're happy. They're coasting. But when someone is back is up against the wall, that's what they'll pay for. They pay for that transformation. And not only do they pay money, but they pay time to come and hear you speak and to come listen to your webinar, your summit, your podcast, your YouTube video, watch your reels. They're paying with their attention. And if they pay attention, then they'll pay you. And that would be good for you because you want to get 6 figures in a weekend.
Oh yeah, sister. That sounds really good. Well, and you bring up a really good point, about the back against the wall, because one of my mentors, when I signed on the dotted line, handed my credit card over to work with her, one of the things she said to me, I was really on the fence. I really wasn't sure. And I had kind of come back with an alternative plan. And she's like, first of all, she's outright said, no, I'm not doing it that way. And here's why. And she told me her reasons. And then she said, you know what the problem is? Your problem is, Jill? I'm like, what? And she's like, you're too comfortable. And I was like, oh, crap. She's totally right. Like, when you get too comfortable, your back's not up against the wall. You're not, but I mean, that, just hearing that, because I think we tend to, we get stuck in our comfort zone. But and having her serve that up to me, I'm like, oh my God, no, this is not okay. Like, this is when I was ready to go to a new level. I'm like, no, the reason I'm talking to her is because I don't want to be at this level. I want to go to the next level. Yeah, I got to get out of being comfortable, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
comfort is the assassination of your dreams. Comfort is really, really a scary place to be. And most people hang out in their comfort zone, but everything that you want is right outside of your comfort zone. So I like your coach. And that's why it's important for people to have a coach, because you can't see what you can't see.
Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day and I'm like, coaches need coaches. Like, we
100.
need, because we can't see it. We're really good at seeing other people's stuff, our clients, but then it comes to your own crap and you don't see it. So,
right. You have to leave the land of familiar to receive the land of phenomenal.
Yeah.
You have to leave the land of familiar to receive the land of phenomenal. And a lot of people want the land of phenomenal, but they're unwilling to leave the land of familiar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we're talking about looking at, you made that beautiful T chart for us. I know one of the things you talk about, Amanda, is creating your signature story. So is that how you start? What is a signature story? Maybe we start there.
So a signature story, well, okay. So in this case, you would talk about when you were in your pain. So when that client was in her painful moment, she would talk about the onset acne and how she felt, and she was getting dressed and she had to face the world. So that's your story. So you talk about your pain, but your seminar story includes your painful pit. So you paint the picture of what it felt and all the layers of what it felt and looked like and the circumstances. But then you also need to paint the payoff. You need to talk about how great you feel now and the transformation you are in now.
And then how do you turn, I know you talk about turning that into your signature system. How does that?
Oh yeah. So the way I look at it, you were talking about, people want to use our process. So out of your transformation between your pain to your payoff, you took steps to go from A to Z. So your signature system is the steps, the A, the B, the C, and the D, or the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or the 1, 2, 3, the key milestones that you took that were essential in order for you to receive your promised land. That is your signature system. And then your signature talk is a preview of your program, and your program is your signature system.
So it's all based around what you've lived in your life, basically.
That's the easiest way for me, especially if you're a personal brand and you have it. Now, if you're selling something else, I've had clients that they're insurance or financial pros, you still need to add a story. Our brains are wired and rewired to hear stories. So you need to have some story. It could be the brand story of the product that you're selling. However, but they need to see themselves in the story. So a brand, if you think about, I have a Louis Vuitton bag, I have a Chanel and not a Chanel, I have a Prada bag. Okay. So you think about brands. I have a Mercedes, and I don't mean to brag. I'm just telling you guys, these are brands. Okay. So you have an iPhone, you have things that I don't know what else I have to show off in here, but if you have some, like I have these mugs I give my clients. This is my slogan, JFDI, just helping do it. Speak your way to success with the Moxley method. Okay. So a brand is a story that you would like to see yourself in. A brand is a story that you would like to see yourself in. So what story are you telling that your audience wants to see themselves in? Yeah. Think about that. Think about, okay, well, when you go and buy something, you buy it because it makes you feel a certain way. So your audience is showing up to be with you because they want to feel a certain way. Everything's about emotion and energy.
We got to tap into that emotion.
Yeah.
with our ideal clients. Yeah. Amanda, you're so good. Like I see you on, I've mentioned this before, but the YouTube, and you've got the podcast, and I know you do events and things, you've got your challenge and all that. And you really, like, you are a great speaker. Like, you're engaging and you're fun, and you've got really rich stuff. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see speakers making that lead them to really like not cash in on when they're out there talking?
Great question, Jill. There's so many mistakes I see. You have to have higher energy, because high energy equals high income. So you can't be boring. Now, a lot of people may not have a bubbly personality. They might be more mellow or more intellectual. That's okay. You just have to bring a level 10 energy, and it could be embodiment to your audience. And your job is to enroll the audience to get them to engage with you. So just like I've been doing today, I'm like, grab a piece of paper. I'm like, is this making sense? Like, you ask questions, and a lot of people, they think they're on a monotone, or they're so consumed with themselves that they are not, they're, and it's normal. Guys, you don't have to be perfect. One of my very first talks a million years ago, I was reading my cue cards like this and looking up. And one of my clients at the time, who was a lawyer, she said, Amanda, you might want to come to Toastmasters with me. And I said, but I still got a client that night, you guys. You can't deny passion, okay? When you're passionate and you're excited and you're energized in your heart and you want to help people and you want to serve, people love it. So, don't not stop. Don't not start because you're not perfect yet. Just keep being yourself. Even if you suck, it's okay. You will get better. And by the way, you are going to suck. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I'm nowhere near. And that's the whole point when we were talking about comfort earlier, right? Because we're always wanting to evolve and grow. That's why we're entrepreneurs. So another mistake I see is, this is kind of funny, but image, right? So your image and your body language are speaking louder than you know. So really putting thought into how you look, how you show up, how you present yourself, and your body language. Okay. Again, you don't have to be perfect. I remember I didn't know this, but apparently, I'm sorry, guys, but my bra strap was coming down and I was like pulling it up. I would just finish nursing. I was like pulling it up on stage, and I'm just like being myself. Okay. And this woman, she was like, I have to hire you. And one of my favorite things about you is that you are just so yourself. You're pulling your bra strap up on stage. And this lady was a level 10 model, like a European model. Okay. So she was just like, you're my spirit animal. How can you be? It's so imperfect. Okay. And so I'm giving you all permission to be yourselves, but I want to share with you to put effort into your image. I had to hire an image stylist. I went to 13 years of Catholic school. I had to wear a uniform. I just wasn't interested in all that stuff. And I had to learn, and I had to invest in that. So that's one thing. There's so many. One other thing I'll say is, if you are I went to an event once, and this woman based her entire talk on a popular TV show. My problem was, I didn't know this TV show because I live a sheltered life. Okay. I just don't really watch TV. I don't really care about TV. I have no time for it. And so she based her whole thing, and I completely got lost because I'm like, I have no idea what she's talking about. Now, if I tell you guys the TV show she's talking about, you're going to be like, how did you not know? Do you guys want to know? It was Friends, but I had no clue about Friends. I never watched Friends. Okay. I never watched Friends. I literally haven't watched a TV show probably since I was in high school. Okay. Like, I just don't watch TV. So it was lost on me, sadly, but that's even if you make references to movies, people don't know. And so then they feel lost. So make sure that you know your audience. A lot of people, they don't know their audience. So do your research on your audience before you speak. I know it's true. Maybe I should. I don't even want to go binge watch it, but thanks for inviting me.
Don't start. I mean, I think it's great that you don't watch TV, actually. There's not a lot of good stuff out there.
Well, the reason why, guys, I don't really watch TV is because there's so much programming. If you want to get rich and you want to get real and you want to get rich, you got to start. If you start watching TV, you see how they make people who are rich. Okay, they're the bad guys, they're the killers. Here's an example of the programming that happens. Okay, so my daughter, my family has a cute little Mercedes red convertible. And I was telling my family member, I was like, oh, when my daughter, and her name is Phoebe, which I did not get it for friends. I said, well, when Phoebe's 16, that'd be really cool if she had this convertible red Mercedes. And I told Phoebe this, I'm like, well, maybe you'll get the convertible red Mercedes. And she said, I don't want to look like I'm rich. I don't want to look like I'm spoiled and rich. And she's 10. And I'm like, how did you even think about spoiled? How did you think about rich? And how did you think that would be with a convertible red Mercedes? And that's all programming. So you're being programmed as an entrepreneur. You have to understand, you have to think different, feel differently, act differently than 97% of the people. Because here's the thing, less than 3% of the people even make more than 6 figures a year in their own business, guys. So you got to unhook from the cultural hypnotic system of the programming and focus on creating your own vision in your mind. Television means they're telling you a vision. It's TV programming. They tell you what it is. Don't be programmed. Create your own headlines in your mind, okay?
This is such a good mindset tip, Amanda. I'm so glad. I didn't know we were going to go here, but I'm really glad we did. No, because if you have a goal, right, and which everyone on this listening to this has a huge goal, like a big dream, a big goal. There's something you want more than almost anything else. You really have to block out the noise. You're right. There's so much conditioning, so much programming coming at us from everywhere. I mean, this is why I'm not on social media that much. Because if I go in there to like check one of my groups or, whatever, I get sucked in. Like it pulls at you, and it's hard. And so I'm best not going on there very much.
Well, yeah, it's not healthy at all. Unless you're a producer, as an entrepreneur, if you want to make 6 figures in a weekend, you need to go from being a taker to a creator. You got to go from being a taker to a producer. You have to be a producer, guys. You cannot be a consumer. So go from being a consumer to a producer and a taker to a creator. That will shift everything. If you're coming in, I only show up on social media as a creator. You said, okay, Amanda, you're doing podcasts, you're doing speaking, you're doing challenges. Yes, I am a creator. I'm a producer. And the other thing is we're in a creator's economy. I went to a YouTube conference called Yukon or something like that last year. And everybody would come up to me and they'd say, are you a creator? And what was cool about this is there were so many unique people. We're talking people that live in the backwoods of Idaho who are preppers. Or you had these, little teeny boppers like from Japan who, have little dogs and little this and that. There are so many different people. And that's the thing is we're all creators and we're all producers and we're all different and we're made in the likeness and image of God. And if you just start thinking like you don't want to fit in with everyone else, you be you and create from your space.
Very well said. So very well said. And sometimes it's really hard to be you. Like this has been my challenge, being me. That's why I teach that now, because it was such a challenge for me to it's hard sometimes for us to really accept ourselves and think, well, wait, like, are my gifts good enough? Like, do I really have value? Can I really help someone? Like, is it enough? And you got to get over that. You really, if you want to be successful and actually help a lot of people and make a huge impact.
Helping people, it's not about us. It's about the mission and getting your heart right. But yeah, from our programming and our childhood, then it's like, oh, well, because you don't fit in as an entrepreneur. So just get used to it, guys. Your family won't agree with you. Your parents won't agree. Your friends, even your partner might not agree with you, even your kids, but that's okay. I had a program back in the day called Be You and Make Bank. Get visible and make bank. So to your point, it's the thing is we're waiting for your voice. One of your questions was, how do you find your voice? It's about getting your voice out everywhere, getting it out there, just using it.
Yeah. And earlier you had said something about perfectionism. Like that is such a killer of getting yourself out there, because it stops people from using their voice and being visible, right? Like, yes, if you're afraid you're not going to appear perfect, and I had that for sure, probably still do in certain situations, right? But like if you're afraid to use your voice because you're not quite perfect, I haven't perfected my message yet, or I haven't perfected my signature story or whatever. It's just say something. Say something.
Well, perfectionism is their ultimate excuse makers.
Yeah.
So just say something, and just remember that you're delaying, denying, procrastinating. And truthfully, I have a lot of clients that are perfectionists, and I know it's not easy. So I have compassion for you guys, but my slogan is JFDI. Okay. Just something, do it. Just JFDI. Who cares? You can erase it later, but just keep doing it.
And don't you think, when you at least I can honestly say that when I have taken these steps that feel so uncomfortable, I learn so much. Really helps me hone hone my message, hone who I'm trying to speak to, all of it.
100. Right? Yes.
And you don't get that if you're too afraid that you're not perfect.
Yeah. You'll never get there.
So Amanda, do you have any little backstage tips that we can use to inspire our audience to take that next step with us? What can you share with us?
The first thing is, if I would have your audience pay, because when they pay attention. So I don't like to do a lot of free things, because if they do free, they don't show up. So number one, if they pay attention. The other thing I would recommend is that you have to really enroll the people. If they participate, they pay. So if you get them to participate, they will pay. And they pay with their attention, but they also pay by taking action. If they don't take action, inertia sets in. And so many people are so used to consuming, scrolling, especially now, like on social media with Facebook, they've gotten rid of, and now just, you can like it, you can love it, you can send care, you can be angry about it, and you can wow it. You don't even have to type in anything anymore. Okay. So people are really lean back and they're not really participating. So if you can bring people to participate in a call to action, that's the number one thing. So stop, ask, am I engaging? Are they engaging? Because if they're in the law of inertia, they will stay mellow. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have a teenager and he is just growing. He's going to be 6'5" probably. He's just constantly laying. And I know you have a son, Jill. It's like he's constantly laying down. And it's just like, you were just laying down. Now you're laying down again. And I'm like, okay, we need to get some momentum going. So it's the same thing with your audience. They are in a place of inertia and consumption. You need to shift your audience to become energized. This is why if you see Tony Robbins, it's like, yes. And, or T. Harv Eker, you have a millionaire mind, where you're constantly, engaging. So get your audience to engage, practice your engagement cues when you're doing interviews, when you're doing podcasts, when you're doing lives, when you're even doing written posts, when you're doing your TikToks, like practice getting people to engage. Because when they pay, when they actually have movement, they will get out of inertia and get into movement, and then they will take the next action. And if you can help them get out of inertia and take action, guess what happens? That's motion. And motion then becomes currency, and currency becomes content, and content becomes currency, which is creation, which is cash.
Love it.
I know. I like that.
I like the waves.
I know. It's so true, because they're like this. So if you can get them moving, that will really help you all. In fact, I invite everybody to do this with me right now. Here's what you want. And that's another thing about this hand movement. If you're just listening, guys, we're doing like a wave with our hands. And that's the thing is, when you are speaking, you're taking them on an emotional roller coaster. So you're making them feel like, oh no, what's going to happen? And the next moment, excited. And then the next moment, like almost scared. And then the next moment, oh, what's going to happen? So you take people on a journey with your story, with your communication, with your strategy.
And we're all going to remember the lady in the summit that went like this, that was getting us to do. Okay.
Yes. I'm constantly, I usually teach and coach standing up. So this has been fun too, sitting down. But yeah, getting in your own body is another backstage tip. Getting in your body, embodying it. Just, you got to feel comfortable in your own body. So that helps a lot too.
So what if, for a lot of people listening to this, probably, may not have a huge audience yet. How can they get booked to speak?
Yeah. So how can people get booked to speak? Number one, have a signature talk. Number two, have a hot topic, a name your talk something that solves a powerful problem or gets people out of a powerful pain point. Okay. Name your talk with a hot rocking name, and that you have to have that. The next thing you can do is go figure out, where does your ideal client, where do they hang out? Where does your audience hang out? When I first started, I went to fitness studios, I went to law firms, I went to my ski resort. Okay, your ideal client is a version of you. I went to my ski resort because I used to ski 100 days a year, and I did a talk there. 3 people showed up at my first talk. 2 people became clients. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm high touch, low tech. So for you, figure out where your people hang out, then pick up the phone, guys. I know it's old school, but you pick up the phone and you say, hi, Sally or Jim, or you can email them and you just say, hey, I am booking for 2023 or 24 speaking engagements. I would love to come and speak to your audience. I can help them get out of this pain. And do you have any availability? That's one way. It's guerrilla marketing, old school. Get hungry, Google it, find out where different associations are. So one of my clients is a hairdresser, and I said, she's trying to get leads. And I said, well, why don't you go find other hairdressers? She sells wigs and extensions. And I said, why don't you go partner with other hairdressers? Because she wants to be a business coach for hairdressers and help them make 6 figures in a new city. And I said, why don't you go meet other hairdressers who have other hairdresser friends, or go to conferences or conventions where your ideal clients hang out? Someone's got your audience. Even you and I before this were talking about, hey, you said, Amanda, would you want to JV with me for your challenge because you do something different? So find colleagues who share your target market.
Great. So we're coming to the end of our talk here today, Amanda. As we wrap up, is there anything that you want to recommend to the woman that is sitting there? She's stuck at a financial plateau. Things just aren't moving and she wants to get unstuck.
Sure. I'll tell you what's worked for me. So when I was there that first time, I mean, I wrote a book called End Your Money Drama. So it comes down to making a decision that you're capital D done with money drama, financial lack. I mean, lack is such a lie. We weren't created with the spirit of lack or a spirit of fear. So first of all, ground yourself in biblical principles, read the Bible. That's clue number 1, because that will really help. Now, the other thing is, what I did is I invested in mentorship, because the first time I did it, I invested $100,000 in my mentor, but I was able to multiply that to $2 million. Let's pretend you have $10. So Jill gives me $10. Jill, I give you $100 back. Is that a good investment?
Huge.
Yeah, that's a good investment. So great. Okay. So then Jill gives me $100. Thank you, Jill. Now let's say Jill gives me 100 and I give her 1,000 back, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 800, 900, 1,000. So Jill just gave me $100. In exchange, I gave her $1,000 back. Is that a good deal? Okay. So you need to think differently as an entrepreneur. Okay, Jill, you just gave me $1,000 and I'm going to give you back $100,000. What happens if you don't have $1,000? What would you do? But you knew you're going to get $100K back.
You have to get scrappy.
You get scrappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amen. Okay. Now this is what worked for me. So I invested $100,000. Okay. So I invested How many of you all listening have gone to college? Say, I have. How many of you have gotten a master's degree? Say, I have. I have a master's degree. Okay. So I paid a lot of money to go to get these, God bless them, useless degrees. Including I have a French minor and I have a communications major, which is obviously helping me today. And I have a master's in social work. Okay. That's helping me because I coach people. Okay. Anyway, so you pay this money, but did you get that money back like right away when you got your degree? Heck no. So a lot of our culture has made us think, okay, you go invest in college and then you'll make this money back. But did you get paid during the college years? No. Did you get pay to study for those exams or buy those books. No, you had to pay for it. So the system, the programming that we've grown up with is teaching us, like I had a client and she said, well, I'm paying the price. I paid you, Amanda, this much money, whatever she paid me, right? But I'm not making the money back. A lot of you guys watching and listening, you paid money, but you're not making the money back. That is your problem because you were programmed to go to school all those years and not get paid. So you have to become an excellent receiver, but you also have to ask for the money. You have to ask for the money. So I paid $100,000 to the coach, which I did not have, but I made the decision and it worked it out. And I actually made the money. I made $54,000 in 6 weeks and I hit the six figures right after that. But what I did was I multiplied that to 1 million and then 2 million. So what do you do if you're in a pit right now and you need to just stop watching TV and you need to get focused and you need to pay the price. You got to go through the portal of pain because you cannot, I had a client enroll with me last week and she paid in full and she said, Amanda, she wired me the money. I love wires. And she said, Amanda, this is my entire savings. I'm wiring you. And I'm like, great. I'm like, because if you did not know what this felt like right now to wire this money and empty out your savings right now, you will have a very hard time asking someone to do the same for you because you're not doing this for me. Yes, I'll use that $8,000 that she wired me at that time. And that will flow me here and there. But the change that I'm going to do in your life is going to last a lifetime. And you're going to multiply this by most likely 100. Because I know who she is and how she's going to do this. So do you understand that? Like you need to be okay with letting go. And it's a law of sacrifice, letting go of something of a lower nature, which is basically just paper, to receive something of a higher nature. So that was a long-winded answer. But then the next thing, okay, so what I did, so my business, I wrote the book on End Your Money Drama. 2020, I was going into an event. I had 130 people coming to my event in person in Utah. Guess when it was happening? March 2020.
Oh, no.
What happened? The world shut down. The government said, oh, you can't do this. And that really pissed me off. And I didn't like that. But I had to cancel the event. And it was so early that I didn't understand what was going on. Everybody has their story, right? So anyway, my business, then homeschool, my business kind of went like this, right? Anyone else's business do this during COVID? I know a lot of people. Next time that thing comes around, I am not going down. But anyway, I went down. And here's the thing, guys. When you go down in something, you're going to go back up. But like your emotions are challenging. But anyway, so you go down. And then what happens is, I could talk about that for a long time because like the shame and all that stuff. But anyway, but then I remembered, hey, what worked for me 10 years ago was when I invested the 100,000 and then I multiplied it to 2 million. So I'm going to find another mentor. I'm going to get so uncomfortable and I am going to invest again. So I invested $200,000 about a year ago. And so now I'm just on my way up. I'm on my way up. Now, here's the thing about time. A lot of people get really upset about time and they get mad at themselves because they're not there yet. Am I the only one? Have you ever felt like that, Jill?
Oh my God. So many times. Yep.
Yeah. Where you're just like, shame. So number one, this is the biggest mistake is that you think you beat yourself up. So shame is the number one killer. It is the silent killer. Okay, so delete any kind of shame. You were not created with the spirit of shame. So shame is the number one killer. So always watch out for shame because you can allow your shame to be the source of your fame. You can turn that spotlight on and it becomes the source of your fame. So here's the acronym for TIME that I came up with because entrepreneurs, we want it all. Let me ask you something. Have you ever made a goal? Okay, I've got my little vision board for the year. It's laminated. Little bonus tip. Have you guys ever, and by the way, bonus tip, this is very large. This is laminated even bigger and it's laminated in my shower. Okay. I highly recommend this. This right here is how I got to go on 3 or 4 private jets this last year because it was on my vision board. Anyway, so here's my acronym for TIME. This is a game changer. And I really wish I would have learned this 18 years ago. So if I were you, I'd grab a pen and paper and write this down. So time is once you rearrange your relationship with time, everything's going to change. So time, T equals transform. I equals intentionally. Transform intentionally. M equals my. Everybody put your hand on your chest and say my. Transform intentionally, my, not anyone else's, but my. And then E, T-I-M-E is emotions. Transform intentionally, my, and then emotions. So go like this to your head. Time equals transform intentionally my emotions. Because these emotions is the motion that once you learn, emotion is energy in motion. But if you're shaming yourself, blaming yourself, beating yourself up, comparing yourself, envying other people, jealous, worried, fear, lack, doubt, you are going to never reach your promised land. So transform intentionally my emotions. And once I got a hold of that, then it's like I divorced myself from the outcome and when it's going to happen. And I just know it is happening because I'm standing on those biblical principles that it is happening. I don't know when, but I don't care. This is happening. It's already done. And then all of a sudden you just enjoy your life and you show up, you serve, and you share. Just like we're doing right now.
I love that. Transform intentionally.
Yep.
My emotions.
Emotions. Yeah. Transform intentionally my emotions. Honestly, that's my biggest thing from this year because I was struggling. I was beating myself up for making that investment, the 200,000, and I hadn't made it back yet. I'm pretty dang close to making it back, like very close, but really had a lot of shame. So if you can, that's going to help you just get off that roller coaster and allow the money to come in really fast.
Awesome. Yeah, so good. You shared so many nuggets with us today. Wow. I bet people have just pages of notes. I know.
I hope so, guys. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Super fun.
So Amanda, you have an amazing free gift. Can you let us know what that is?
So I have a masterclass called Speak and Grow Rich Masterclass, and it will walk you through how to turn your words to wealth, how to speak and grow rich, how to assemble your audience. And there's even a free gift that comes with it when you show up, because if you don't show up, then you are not going to learn this. So when you show up, I give you a gift, and the gift is I teach you 12 ways to book your virtual or in-person events. And I give you an event budget. My very first event, I invested $40,000. I had sleepless nights, anxiety, so much fear. Is anyone going to show up? So I figured out by my second event how to take my 40,000 and brought it down to 4,000. And I actually got paid before the event started. So I learned a few things and I am passing them on to you all.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's so generous. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So grab that because you want to learn from this woman here because she's been through it and she knows a few things.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got a glimpse of that today.
Got the wrinkles to prove it, guys.
We earned those wrinkles.
I totally did. 18 years of being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yeah. You learn a lot. You really do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. I love everything that you shared. I know that our listeners are taking away so many amazing things that they can use right away. I mean, there's so much here. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jill, for having me. And I look forward to connecting with everyone on social media and in the masterclass.
Awesome. Yes, absolutely. And to our listeners, what 1 or 3 or 5 nuggets are you taking away from this talk with Amanda today that you can put in play immediately in your business? Right. Let us know in our Facebook group. And when you comment, you will go into our drawing for some amazing prizes. So
JFDI.
JFDI. Yes. I need a mug like that. That's awesome. I love it. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.